Last year, the Cavaliers picked Colin Sexton to run the point. A year later, they followed up with another point guard. Vanderbilt's Darius Garland was picked number 5, which matches the number of games he played in his freshman season before he tore his meniscus. The son of NBA veteran Winston Garland showed plenty of game while he was on the floor. Guys, how much did you see? How much did you like of Garland at Vanderbilt?
Well, he played 4.5 games, so we couldn't see a lot. But what we did see, I think everybody liked. 47, 48% from three, great handle. You know, people question his decision-making because the assist-to-turnover ratio. But you get that, too. Young players handle the ball a lot. Turnovers happen.
Also tiny sample.
Tiny sample size. But the thing I love about this pick for Cleveland is there's this debate, need versus best player. And need oftentimes leads to draft mistakes. Cleveland just said, we're going to take the best player on the board, regardless of Colin Sexton. And we may have like the next version of Portland. You know, look, Lillard and McCollum. Yeah, that's a long way to go for these two young players. But certainly, you know, having that skill, that backcourt, the way the game is being played, I like the pick.
Toronto put a couple of little guards on the floor in the NBA Finals that shot the ball, and that was a huge difference. You know, I think one thing's not getting talked a lot with Garland is his personality, his leadership ability. Very, very competent player. He was a very highly ranked, highly recruited player. His dad was a terrific player, and Winston Garland, and a tough guy. Obviously, you don't have as many games to look at as a Coby White. But Garland has got the personality of more of a point guard. He wants the ball in his hands, a brilliant shooter, but I think he's more adept to setting the plays. Whereas Coby White, I think with his size and his ability to score, could play off the ball a little bit more. And look, I played Colin Sexton when I was at Auburn, Alabama. Colin can play off the ball, and he can score. He's probably better just trying to, you know, be that Vinnie Johnson microwave type of a player and let, you know, Garland do the playmaking and the shooting. And so both, two guards, really good, very, very different. And I think they're both going to be successful.
There's an argument to be made that Sexton may be better as an off guard than a point guard. And
so.
These days, you don't have to have a 6'6", 6'7" point guard to work in the NBA like it used to be. Lots of trades along the way on Thursday night. The Phoenix Suns were very active along the way, starting with this deal to move down from 6 to 11 while picking up Darius Saric from the Timberwolves. Minnesota then used that 6th pick on Big 12 Player of the Year, Jarrett Culver. Culver made a huge leap from his freshman season to his sophomore year, leading the Red Raiders all the way to the national title game. Seth, Sam, two-way player. What are his NBA-ready skills?
Well, he's got an NBA body, for one. He's an NBA athlete, for two, so that's a good place to start. He's got an incredible work ethic, a good defender, and a natural scorer. Sam, to me, the big question is going to be, can he become a three-point shooter? We talked about this earlier tonight before the draft. At that position, that body type, if you are not a laser-like, consistent three-point shooter, I think you have a hard time sticking in the NBA. He went from 38% as a freshman to 30% from behind the three-point line, really became a non-three-point shooter towards the end of the season. That, to me, is the one question mark for Culver. If he adopts that dimension to his game, then I think we've got a winner. Otherwise, I think this is pretty high to take on a guy who's not going to make threes.
Seth, having seen this kid up front, I love this pick with this kid. First of all, he has size at that two-guard position, 6'6", so he can defend. And in today's NBA, with a lot of switching and things, when those big guys roll you down the post, if you got some size at 6'6", you can defend yourself. You can hold those guys off. Second, this kid can get to the hole. Yes, he needs to improve his shooting, but look at that 38% as a freshman. It dropped his sophomore year. But this kid played at Texas Tech for Chris Beard, so he's a tough defender. He's a tough-minded kid because Chris Beard coaches you tough and hard. Second, Minnesota needs someone like him. When you got Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, you need a guy that can get to the basket, slash and score. Yes, he needs to improve his three-point shooting, but he can defend his position. And one of the things that the Timberwolves struggle with is defense. They don't have a guy late in the game that you can say at 6'5", 6'6", you take this guy and take him out of the game. So I think coming into the NBA right now, he's already can defend his position. I think, like you said, he needs to improve his shooting, but this kid can put the ball on the floor. He can get to the hole. I love this kid. I had a chance at Memphis this past year. We played against this team, and he started off slow, but you can just see the talent and the toughness. And I think he's going to bring a different dimension in Minnesota that they haven't had, because when you put him out there with Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins. Now you got some size. You got some guys your defense improves. And I just think with his work ethic and his toughness, he's going to elevate the defense of Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns.
And guys, he's a guy who, coming out of high school, was in nobody's top 150 nationally in his class, and now he's a high lottery pick. That's how it goes sometimes in basketball.
One of the things you hear about him from folks around the league is that he'll be a great culture fit wherever he lands, in this case, Minnesota. His coach, Chris Beard, said he is, quote, addicted to hoops, so the work is going to be put in to improve that three-point shot. After Culver, the Bulls went for North Carolina point guard Coby White. Great size at about 6'5", and Roy Williams says he is the best scoring point guard he's ever coached, and Roy Williams has coached a little while now. He averaged 16 a game for the Heels as a freshman. Bruce, was he definitively the third best point guard in this draft?
I don't know that he was definitively the third best point guard in the draft. I love his size. You know, when you draft a North Carolina point guard, you're going to get somebody that can run a fast break. Nobody runs it better. Nobody runs it faster. He can get downhill and he can score. The question is going to be when he is forced to play more of a half-court game, can he set the offense? Can he get the ball to guys in scoring position, either in the post or coming off of screens? You know, defensively, that's not been his forte. He's probably a better offensive player than a defensive player. I'd say he's probably the third best point guard that was in this draft.
It's interesting because I probably would have him as the first best point guard. And, you know, you're talking about the offensive end. And
that's why I'm a college basketball coach and you're an NBA general manager. That's the deal.
Or a retired NBA general manager, or whatever they call him. But, no, so you're talking offense and defense. But, you know, the thing about Coby White that stands out is his competitiveness. And when you look at Jim Boylan in Chicago, he is going to demand everyone on that team defend. And then you start to look at Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine needs to have the ball in his hands. Coby can play off the ball. So I love this pick. One of my favorite picks in the draft, one of my favorite players in the draft. And I just think this kid, his ability to score, the character, the work rate, I believe he'll be able to defend. He's certainly going to be coached to defend. The fit with LaVine, I like it all the way around.
All right, that brings us back to the Pelicans after trading down in that deal with the Hawks. Pels picked again at 8th, taking Texas big man Jackson Hayes, athletic shot blocker with a 7'4" wingspan, some of the biggest hands at the combine. He can rebound and finish at the rim. Also comes from an athletic family. His dad, Jonathan, is the tight ends coach with Cincinnati, the Bengals, and played 12 years in the NFL. Mom was the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year at Drake. That's some kind of pedigree, guys.
You know, I love this kid, Sam, and I love this pick for New Orleans. I'm not saying he's Anthony Davis. He's a poor man's Anthony Davis, so he's that type of player, that type of bounce, and a late bloomer similar to Anthony, who grew a lot in high school. When Jackson Hayes was a junior in high school, he was still playing JV basketball, came into Texas very much under the radar, not one of these guys, oh, here's a superstar freshman everybody's watching. It was very evident early in the season. You started to hear buzz about him in practices, scouts going down there, writers and broadcasters going down there, that Shaka Smart had something special. I think he's got a huge upside of potential. DeAndre Jordan, size and athleticism. And I think if you're going to lose Anthony Davis, you know, plan A is to keep AD, but plan B, I like this pick here with this young man. He's got a huge upside.
Seth, you said it. When I look at this kid, Anthony Davis, University of Texas, same thing. I like his size. When I think about him, Clint Capella, can roll to the basket. The thing about it, people say, well, why do you take a big guy that's not as skilled, can play with his back to the basket? In today's NBA, if that big guy sets a good screen and he rolls that basket, he puts so much pressure on that defense because all you got to do is get it near the rim and he can go get it. And then you look at his ability and his quickness on defense. Switching. He has the ability with that length to keep them guards in front of him, keep them out of the paint, and contest shots and get back and peel back and get on the glass. And then, last but not least, when he's rim running, you got to go pay attention to his kid. I just think when you look at his length, his athleticism, his ability to put pressure on the rim and go get the ball up high, and blocking shots and defending the rim, you look at what the Pelicans are doing. They've getting scores when you got Zion Williams and those guys, and now they're starting to build their interior defense. When you start adding guys like this, you got to be able to, it's two positions you got to be able to defend. At the point and at the center, you got to stop penetration, and when the guys get beat, you got to have someone back there who can clean up mistakes. This kid has a chance to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Solid pick for the Pels.
You guys, you know, offensively, you can make a really good living setting screens and rolling to the rim. He shot nearly 73% last year. Barely halfway through the lottery here, Atlanta's second pick of the night is up next, and he's not just reddish, he's Hawks reddish now.